Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I have some monthly favorites to share with you guys today. This month I have a really random assortment of products here. In addition to a smaller set of makeup products, I also have a nail polish here. I have a self-tanner, I have some jewelry. I even have a food recommendation that I want to share with you guys. I'm hoping I don't forget about that at the end. I am very hungry right now. I think my stomach will remind me. Enough explanation. Before we get into the products, first off, special welcome to those of you that are new here. Very happy to have you here. I hope that you enjoyed today's video and I hope that you'll consider subscribing before you leave. Make sure those notifications are turned on. And with that, let's get into it. So let's start with the makeup products. First off, a concealer. Pretty sure I've hinted at this over the course of the last month and a half. I think that I've been trying this one out, but I am officially mentioning today the Lancome Teint Idole Concealer. This one is in the shade 250. Perfect match for me. Perfect amount of coverage. This gives, I would say, high medium coverage, but it's very liquidy and lightweight. It's not quite as heavy as the Dior Forever Skin Concealer. I think I've said this before, but in case you missed me saying that, that is another favorite concealer of mine. This one's a little bit more liquidy, but it does a really good job at covering things, staying lightweight. It doesn't crease on me, but it doesn't look cakey. It does a good job covering anything, anywhere. I think it's fantastic. Price-wise, it's obviously a little bit pricey because it is Lancome, but it does have quite a bit of product inside. This bottle contains 0.43 ounces, which is quite a bit. That's quite a bit more than most of my drugstore concealers contain. If you like something high-end, especially when it comes to your foundation and concealer, I do recommend this. I think it's great, and they have a really good shade range. Next up, I have a repeat product, but a new way of using it. It's the Say Glowy Super Gel. Kind of feel like the first time I introduced this product to you guys, I gave it a bad rap for its smell. It just smells a little off to me, that's all I'll say. I do really like this product initially as a liquid highlighter. This is really a liquid. I mean, it is kind of like a jelly texture, but it really goes on as more of a liquid than a cream, I would say. But what I have been loving this so much for lately is using it as a kind of as a primer, but not really to like keep my makeup in place, but to give it a little extra glow. This stuff is seriously glowy. Let me just give this a swatch on the back of my hand for you guys. So it's just a tiny little dot of it, but as you blend this in, it has this like really, I can't even explain it. It's a shimmer quality, unlike anything else that I own. It's very, very reflective, and I love putting this underneath a medium coverage foundation. It gives your skin the most perfect added glow. So I do have it on today. I actually have another highlighter on top of it on my cheekbones, but I just put it kind of right here, like down my nose, in the middle of my forehead, and here on top of my cheeks. Basically the high points of my face, and I do feel like it gives a little bit more brightness, luminosity to my skin underneath my foundation that still kind of peeks through. Today I just am topping it with the Mise en Snail Repair BB Cream. I tried it underneath a lot of my foundations, and I really, really enjoy the glow that this gives my skin. Next, I have a blush to share with you guys. I talked a lot about this blush. This is another repeat product, but there's a reason I've kind of rediscovered this. I've really been in a cream and liquid blush phase. I mean, this phase has been going on for a long time, but particularly over the last 2 or 3 months, I have almost exclusively been reaching for liquid and cream blushes. But this blush right here is a powder. This is the Nabla Skin Glazing Blush in the shade Independence. I talked about it last month in a video where I did talking about specific shades of makeup that I think are standouts to me. This is one of those products. The shade of this kind of, especially on the cheeks, swatch-wise, they're not exactly the same, but it kind of gives me vibes of Mood Exposure from Hourglass, which is one of my favorite blushes. It has this kind of mauve-y quality to it, but it looks really natural on the cheeks. It does have some pink, but it has this, I mean, it doesn't really look cool tone, but on your cheeks, I don't know if you guys can see, this is the blush that I'm wearing today. Can you kind of see that coolness, like almost sculpting quality that it gives your cheeks? Also gives them a little bit of a sheen. It has a soft sheen to it that's really, really beautiful. Great formula. I just think this is a fantastic blush. I've particularly been enjoying it over the last week because I have a monster of a zit right here that I self-inflicted. It started as one of those little, what are those things called? The little like white bumps. They're not like whiteheads, but they're little bumps on your skin. That must be some sort of like a tiny clogged pore that I tried to mess with and ended up with a large zit instead. I should know better. I'm 41 years old, for crying out loud. I rarely deal with breakouts anymore, so why do I do this to myself? When will I learn? But I mentioned that because since I have to cover this up with quite a bit of concealer and foundation, can't really use a cream blush right now because the coverage will come off and expose that large blemish underneath. So I've been appreciating powder blushes lately, and this is one that I think is particularly beautiful. Next, I have a powder foundation, a pressed powder foundation, which I'm not usually one to mention things like this. It's the Pure 4-in-1 Pressed Mineral Powder. So I've had this for a couple of years. I've kind of dabbled in it back and forth, but lately I've rediscovered a use for this that used to be something I was not into doing. I do have dry skin. I've mentioned before that I've kind of been a little bit I don't know how to say anti-powder. I do use powder pretty regularly in certain strategic areas, but powders are not something I get very excited about typically. They just aren't products that I love to try out or spend my money on. I have a couple that work for me and I'm content with those. But lately I've discovered a need that I did not formerly have, and that is with my forehead area. So I'm 41 now, have a lot of natural expression lines and forehead wrinkles. I don't do the Botox thing. And as an added bonus, just in the last year and a half, I've started to develop some hyperpigmentation up here on my forehead that I never had to worry about covering before. So the problem this now presents to me is in order to cover those, I have to put a lot of foundation and concealer on, which then settles into my fine lines. So I kind of feel like I'm fighting a losing battle until I rediscovered this for my forehead. This does give me some coverage. It helps to set down the little bit of makeup underneath so I don't have to apply too much foundation or concealer. So this gives me the coverage without giving me the intense settling that a liquid or cream product would give me, which has been a heaven send for me lately. Now I don't use this everywhere. It's a little bit too heavy for me to put all over my face. My dry skin just doesn't generally look very good with a powder foundation, but I really like how this works on my forehead. And it makes me rethink, maybe I should try out some of the ones that other people have talked about, like the Makeup Forever one. I never really wanted to try that one out because I just had a feeling I wouldn't like it, but now I'm second guessing that since I've rediscovered this one. Let's get to an eyeshadow palette. I have just one to mention today. It is an old favorite of mine. I feel like it's been a little bit more neglected than I was anticipating it would be, and I'm talking about my Natasha Denona Sunrise palette. I pulled this out, I think in June, into my Shop My Stash because this is one of my favorite summertime palettes. But then July, early August came around and I was so busy trying out eyeshadow palettes. I mean, a ridiculous amount of new eyeshadow palettes to where this kind of got a bit neglected. But I did pull it back out over the last couple weeks and man, you guys, I know I've talked about this palette a lot before. It's probably been in 2 or 3 favorites videos before. It is such a good palette. There's a reason that I tout this as one of my favorite palettes, not just amongst my Natasha Denona collection, but amongst all of my eyeshadow palettes. Every look that I've ever done with this palette has just been, I absolutely love it. I'm wearing it on my eyes today. Usually I go for some of the more yellow and orange shades. Today I went with more of like the kind of pinks and peaches. This beautiful kind of shell pink lid shade is what I have all over my lid. It's gorgeous. I love it. It's so pretty, so summery. It's the perfect amount of color to play with, but you get plenty of neutrals inside here. I kind of feel like the pink and these yellows kind of throw this whole palette off if you're someone that is a little bit afraid of color. There are a lot of neutral, beautiful neutral shades in here. Get a great bronze, some beautiful lid shades that are all a little bit different. I love this shade in the outer corner. It's like a beautiful kind of like plummy red with a touch of brown in it. It's gorgeous. I have that all over my lash line today and kind of smoked into my crease. It is absolutely stunning. I love it. If you don't have this one or if this is outside of your budget, I know Alter Ego makes a very good dupe for this palette. I would recommend that one as well. Just in general, this color story is beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. Next, I have a brow product. I kind of feel like I've been throwing you guys for a loop lately with my brow routine because it's constantly changing. Brows are one of those things that I've just been on the hunt lately for discovering a really good brow routine, which means I've been rotating through all kinds of different products from drugstore to high-end, different types of products, pens, pencils, pomades. So if you've been a little bit dizzy, well, I'm here to make you a little bit more dizzy. So I wanted to mention today this brow product that really impressed me. It's from Uoma Beauty. I just tried this out. I think it was just in a video 1 or 2 days ago, but that video I actually filmed nearly a week ago. So this is pretty new. Normally I wouldn't talk about a product after a week, but I've just been very, very impressed with this. So I mentioned in that video that the shade that I had tried out, which is the shade number 3, was a little bit dark, a little bit off. It kind of grew on me though, I have to say. I actually filmed a video right after that video and I really loved how my brows looked in that video. So I don't know, I'm kind of on the fence about the shade number 3, but I went back and picked up shades 1 and 2 because I really wanted to see how these shades compared and try to find my perfect shade. Have to be honest, number 1 is probably not going to work for me. It's a little bit too light. If you have very fair skin, if you really like a very light, kind of barely there eyebrow, this might be a good option for you. I will swatch these in just a sec. Shade number 2 is what I'm wearing in my brows today. It works pretty well for me. I have to say the pencil is really, really good. So I'll just go ahead and swatch that for you guys right there. There it is. Hopefully you guys can see that. It's nice and ashy. It does pull a little bit purple. I mean, I think I've said that before. I don't know if anyone else understands what I'm saying when I say that. It's very difficult for me to find like the perfect shade in a brow pencil. I think the 2 best shades ever are the Ulta Beauty Ash Blonde and the Precisely My Brow in shade number 3. Those shades work absolutely perfectly for me. Oh, hang on, I got a hair stuck in my lip. They're nice and ashy, but they don't have yellow or purple in them. This one does pull just a tiny bit purple, but I don't really see it in my brows. As for the brow gel, I find myself, I like the undertone of this brow gel. So here it is right there. Really nice and ashy again. I wish for me it was a tiny, tiny bit darker. Shade number 3, I actually like the darkness of shade 3. I just felt like it was a little bit too warm. So I'm gonna swatch below shade number 3. So here is shade 3. Look at the dark difference in those two. Like I wish there was something in between these two. Maybe I should go try shade 4. Maybe it's like better. In fact, I've come this far. Maybe I'll just collect them all. So I kind of like the darkness of this one. It was just a little bit too dark and a little bit warm. It just had a little bit more red than I typically like. Let me give the pencil of that one a swatch for you guys as well. The pencil, I think especially, is where I notice the warmth. But if you have maybe deeper hair, if you like a warmer brow, so those are shades 3 right there. I find myself wishing I could find something between these, but that's all right. It's not the end of the world. And then here's shade number 1. I had to press really hard to get that amount of pigment out of it. I feel like those look more similar than they look in person. And then here is the brow gel. There's the brow gel right there. So really good if you like something really, really light. But I'll definitely use both shades 2 and 3. I think as far as how much product is in the brow gel, as you might imagine, I mean, look how tiny this little tube is. Don't get a lot of product in here. So I wouldn't go into this expecting that, but you do get a lot of product in the pencil itself. There is technically a tiny bit more in this pencil than in the entire Ulta Beauty Ultra Slim Brow Pencil. So that was kind of heartening to me. You know, I love value, so you do get a good amount of value in the pencil. As far as the consistency of the brow gel, it's a little bit more wet and liquidy than some of the other brow gels that I actually don't like as much. I like my brow gels to be a little bit more wet looking. It doesn't have that kind of like soft waxy feel as like the ColourPop does, or even like the Benefit one. That one has more of like I don't know, it gives your brows kind of that fluffy sort of look. This actually does kind of define your brows, which I like. I like that a little bit better, but just so you know, if you're looking for something a little bit more fibrous or kind of like soft, this is a little bit more liquidy than you might be used to. Oh, that one was a little bit long-winded. Next, I have a quick favorite to mention. I know I've mentioned this one before, but I was reminded of why I love it so much this last month. The LA Girl Ultimate Intense Wear Auto Liner. This one is in the shade Nonstop Nude. Gotta be one of the best lip liners at the drugstore. If you're looking for a really good color, a really good performance, a good long-wearing lip pencil from the drugstore, this is one of the very best. So I have here on the back of my hand, I actually swatched these before filming this video. So 2 of these are Charlotte Tilbury. One of these is the Ultimate LA Girl Intense Wear Auto Liner. Such a long name, I can never get it right. So I swatched these before filming this video, probably about 40 minutes ago, and I just want to show you guys how well these perform and compare to each other. So I have a little towel here. I'm just gonna rub back and forth. I'm rubbing pretty hard. See, they are not budging. None of them are. I can't tell a difference in how any of these wore off, which I think says something. I've long said that the Charlotte Tilbury lip liner is one of the most budge-proof lip products that I own. It's definitely the most budge-proof lip pencil that I own. I've got to say, I think that this LA Girl one competes pretty well. I also think the shade is nearly identical to the shade Pillow Talk, which is this one right here. So let me just tell you, the one in the middle is the LA Girl in the shade Nonstop Nude. The one on this side is Pillow Talk, and then this one is Iconic Nude from Charlotte Tilbury. I've been a long time fan of this pencil, but I don't think I realized when I first touted this pencil how long wearing it is, especially compared to my Charlotte Tilbury ones. Fantastic. If you're looking for a good basic nude pink pencil, this one is amazing. I haven't been a big fan of all the shades of these that I've tried. I think I've tried 4 of them now. 2 have worked out okay, 2 of them I didn't like at all. This is definitely the best shade that I've tried out from them so far, but as far as performance, it's amazing. Speaking of affordable products that perform really well, have a nail polish to share with you guys. This one is from LA Colors. I've talked about these before. This is the LA Colors Color Last Nail Polish in the shade Infinite. This is beautiful. This is the one that I have on my nails today. Such a beautiful kind of mauvey pink, soft feminine shade. It's stunning. And not only that, but this nail polish performs really, really well. That's one of the reasons I've talked about it before. Now, as with most brands of nail polish, not every shade performs the same. I found that to be the case with this one as well, but this particular shade, I can put this on very quickly. It dries pretty fast. So usually let like 10-15 minutes pass between coats and it lasts forever. This lasts better than a lot of my Olive and June nail polishes, and they are incredibly affordable. You can get these for $1.98 at Walmart is where I picked mine up. Really good any season kind of color as well. It's kind of cool tone, so it's good for fall and winter, but it's also pink, so spring or summer would be beautiful as well. The one negative about this though is the brush. It's not a great brush. Like, the brush quality is not fantastic. It's a little kind of jagged and uneven. Seems like the brush that you would pay $1.98 for, but the nail polish itself is incredible. I don't even have a top coat on with this, and it will last for probably 4 or 5 days before I even get a single chip. I have a self-tanner to share with you guys, but before I do, I just want to warn you. If you're someone that does not self-tan, I just want to warn you, once you start, it's kind of hard to stop. Like, once you get used to seeing yourself a little bit tan, it's hard to stop doing it. It's kind of a problem for me. But I discovered one this last month that is my favorite that I've tried so far. It comes from the brand Be Tan. I've actually tried products from this brand before and not been that impressed with them. I've started to go back to the tanning waters because they don't tend to stain my sheets as badly. I always feel bad when my husband's like making our bed in the morning and there's like swipes of brown all over the sheets. He's probably like, "You're disgusting, Mandy. Why do you do this to yourself?" Anyways, the tanning waters don't do that quite as much. It's just hard to find a tanning water that gives you enough tan, but also the right color of tan. This one is my dream. It does give me a good amount of tan. It actually says it only has like 2 out of 5 dots as far as the level of darkness, but this goes a lot darker than I was thinking that it would go when I saw that it's supposed to just give you a natural glow. You get a good amount of color out of this product, so I would be careful using this. The one thing that's a little bit tricky with these self-tanning waters is you can't tell, because it's clear when it goes on, you can't tell exactly how much you're getting on. So it takes a little bit of practice. That is one thing I would warn you about if you're new to applying self-tanner. I actually just apply this with my hands because I find the mitts to be a little bit trickier to feel where the product's actually going. And then I just make sure I wash my hands immediately when I'm done. I just let it dry for about 10 minutes before I put all my clothes back on, and it gives you the most beautiful, natural looking glow. The first time I used this, I was actually getting ready to film a video and was looking in the mirror, and I just thought my neck looked like a real tan, not like a fake tan, like I maybe had gotten a real tan for the first time in a long time. Fooled even me. It's the perfect color for what I like in a tan. I don't like something too green and olivey, but I also don't want something that's gonna turn me orange. This is like right there in between. It's gorgeous. It's also pretty affordable. I think I got this one for like 10 bucks. I need to go buy a couple more bottles before I run out. Probably lasts for like 4 days. And I do want to just say, make sure you exfoliate before you apply this, especially if you are applying it like again. You want to make sure you get some of that like tan that starts to come off all the way off before you put it on again. Otherwise things just start to get kind of patchy. It's one of those things with self-tans that happens with every self-tanner. Another reason I would caution you from even starting, but if you're looking for a good self-tanner, this is one I've loved. It's been my favorite that I've tried in the last couple of years. Okay, a couple more things. I want to talk about a couple of jewelry items. So this last month was my first time trying out buying jewelry from Etsy. I've decided once and for all that I am not buying jewelry anymore if it's not sterling silver, because it just tarnishes and then it ends up just making me mad. Some of my favorite jewelry products that I really love don't look very good for very long. So I've got a couple staple items. I had a silver necklace. You guys have probably seen me wearing, maybe if you pay attention to that kind of thing. I've had it for years. I've actually had it for like 10 years. It's just a silver dainty chain. It has a little tree at the end. It was my favorite necklace, but it finally broke on me and the chain was so tiny that I couldn't fix it. So I was on the hunt to find some sterling silver replacements for that necklace, and I found a couple that I really love. This one right here, I will link for you guys down below, these necklaces, but this one I love. I did get it in a 14-inch and it was way tight on me. So I actually had to add a couple of links from an old necklace to the back because it was too tight. I like a little bit more of a choker, but not one that's gonna like sit up here on my neck. So I would recommend, yeah, 14 inches is like for children. I probably should have known that going in, but I love how dainty this little thing is. I have a couple more that I got that I also want to show you. This one right here is a little bit longer. Oh gosh, what length did I end up going with? I want to say I went with a 16-inch. Yeah, 16-inch length with this one. Maybe it was 15, but this one's really pretty. It has a little branch on it, which I think is really cute. More like a chain, like a larger chain than the rope. This one is also the rope and it has sea glass on the end. This one sits about the same as this one. I think this one was a 15-inch and I love it. It's beautiful. I also picked up this set of sterling silver little kind of hammered disc earrings. They're very small and dainty. I think they're so cute and feminine. I love tiny earrings. So cute, pretty affordable. I'll link them all down below for you guys. Very impressed with them too. I'll let you know how the quality goes. Hopefully it won't tarnish over time, but so far so good. I've worn most of these through multiple days, through showers, and haven't had any issues with them. Last favor, I have a food item to share with you guys. So Trader Joe's makes this yellow curry sauce that if you are into like a sweet coconut curry, which if you haven't ever tried it, oh my gosh, it's one of my favorite dishes in the entire world. It is delicious. I've been craving it for a while, but we don't have a Trader Joe's very close to my house. I think the nearest one is about 35, 40 minutes away. Last Saturday, I was about to drive into a Trader Joe's just to pick up some curry sauce. Then my husband asked me where I was going. I was like, I'm gonna drive into Trader Joe's to get some curry sauce. And he's like, really? You're driving 40 minutes, gas being $4.50 a gallon for a $6 bottle of curry sauce. So he kind of talked some sense into me. I normally don't make trips far away unless I have, like I live in a rural area. So to like go into town, usually go into town when you have lots of errands to run. So it's kind of silly for me to make a trip just for a bottle of curry sauce. I gotta give him that. So he recommended that I look locally for an alternative to Trader Joe's yellow curry. And what do you know? I looked online on Walmart's website and they actually make a great value version of a yellow curry, which I was like, hey, it's $3, it's cheaper, it's just around the corner for me, we'll give it a try. So I ended up doing that, went and bought a couple packages. I'll link it down below for you guys. I'll also put a picture of it right here. Oh my gosh, it was so good and way cheaper. This one was like $3 for like a 10 ounce. It's not in a bottle, it was actually in little envelopes, but it was amazing. So if you are looking for a good curry dish, or if you've never tried curry out before, maybe you live miles away from a Trader Joe's as well, try out the great value version. I was seriously impressed. It has amazing reviews online. It is so good. I did mine with some chicken breast. I put some potatoes in there, some onions and bell peppers, put it on top of rice, served it with my naan, which is amazing. I'll link that recipe for you guys down below. Best food ever. And that's it, you guys. Sorry, this one was a little bit extra rambly, which is saying something, but hopefully you guys enjoyed this one. Hopefully I gave you some good suggestions, whether that was for makeup or curry. But I hope you guys are all doing well. Thank you guys for joining me today. Let me give you one last reminder to subscribe before you leave, and I will see all of you very soon in my next video. Bye. Hey guys, welcome back to my, I almost just said welcome back to my favorite channel. Hey guys. A special welcome to those of you that are newly visiting.